Why can't you just let him be free and live in peace?
Because now we can bring them under our complete control.
Why did you shoot him? He didn't know what he was doing. I'm so sorry, my friend.
It's been nearly 5 decades since Wonder Woman first spun her way into our living rooms, and somehow the show still feels alive in a way that a lot of television from that era just doesn't. Part of it is the character, obviously. Diana Prince is timeless in ways that most TV heroes aren't. But a big part of it is the people who played her world. There's a specific warmth to that original cast, a chemistry that built steadily across 4 seasons and 2 very different versions of the show that makes it genuinely worth asking, what happened to all of them? From Oscar nominations to million-dollar business empires, from brave departures from Hollywood to quiet second careers that had nothing to do with show business, the people who brought Wonder Woman to life have traveled some genuinely remarkable roads. Here's where they ended up.
I'm your friend. I don't want to hurt you. Can't you listen to me?
Lynda Carter played Wonder Woman and Diana Prince from 1975 to 1979, and she was just 24 years old when she first put on that golden tiara. What's easy to forget now, looking back at a show that feels almost effortless, is how much rested on her. 59 episodes across 2 very different settings, the World War II years on ABC, then the modern-day CBS seasons with a completely different supporting cast and tone. And she carried every single one of them with a physical confidence and genuine warmth that never felt like it was being performed. A lot of actors would have played the role as a costume. Carter played her as a person, which is why it lasted. By 2026, she's 74 years old and shows absolutely no signs of slowing down. The decades since the show have been full ones. She released multiple music albums and performed sold-out runs in Las Vegas, following a passion for music that actually predated Wonder Woman. She'd been a singer and beauty queen long before she was a superhero, and that part of her identity never went away. She returned to the DC universe with a recurring role as President Olivia Marsden on Supergirl, and in 2020 she made a quietly beautiful cameo in Wonder Woman 1984 as the ancient Amazon warrior Asteria. It felt less like a celebrity appearance and more like a genuine passing of the torch between 2 generations of the same character. She's also lent her voice to beloved characters in Fallout 4 and the Elder Scrolls video game series, earning a devoted new following among players who grew up with controllers instead of TV remotes. In 2018, she received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, recognition that felt not just like a career achievement, but like an acknowledgement of what the role had meant to an entire generation. What's also worth noting is how consistently Carter has used her platform over the years. She was among the first high-profile women in entertainment to speak openly about gender inequality in the industry, doing so long before it was fashionable or expected. She's engaged with politics and public life with genuine substance rather than celebrity superficiality, and she's maintained that original warmth that made Diana Prince feel real, not as a performance, but as a natural extension of who she actually is. 50 years on, people still stop her to say she changed their life, and she handles that with remarkable grace. Her personal life has had its share of difficulty alongside its share of grace. She was married to talent manager Ron Samuels until 1982, then found something lasting with attorney Robert A. Altman. 37 years together until his death in 2021. She's a devoted mother to 2 children and has been open about being sober for over 25 years, becoming a genuine advocate for mental health awareness and women's rights. The role made her famous. What she chose to do with that platform says quite a lot about who she actually is.
When I was a kid, my father raised me on stories about Wonder Woman, how they worked together and all the adventures that they had. I used to think he exaggerated.
Lyle Waggoner played Steve Trevor Sr. and Steve Trevor Jr. across all 59 episodes from 1975 to 1979. He was 40 when the show started, and already well established from 7 years on The Carol Burnett Show, which meant he brought a real ease and likability to the role from the very beginning. Steve Trevor spent a notable portion of the series being rescued by the woman he was supposed to be protecting, and Waggoner always played that dynamic with just the right amount of good-natured self-awareness. It could have been awkward casting. It wasn't. Sadly, he passed away on March 17, 2020, at the age of 84 after a battle with cancer. What's worth knowing about Waggoner's post-Wonder Woman years is that his most enduring achievement had almost nothing to do with acting. He kept working through the 1980s, guest spots on The Love Boat, Fantasy Island, Happy Days, but the decision that really defined his later life was a business one. In 1987, he founded Star Wagons, a company that became Hollywood's premier provider of luxury trailers and motorhomes for film and television productions. It sounds unglamorous until you consider how essential those trailers are to how productions actually function day to day, and how completely he came to dominate that market. It's the kind of entrepreneurial leap that most people in his position never seriously consider, and he executed it with the same easy professionalism he brought to everything else. He built something that outlasted anything he'd done in front of a camera, and it still serves the industry today. He was married to Sharon Kennedy for 60 years, from 1960 until his death, and they raised 2 sons together. He spent his final years in Westlake Village, California, by all accounts genuinely content with what he'd built, both the business and the family.
See, I was taken prisoner by the Nazis, the location of Paradise Island. I'm sorry, Diana.
Debra Winger played Wonder Girl and Drusilla in just 3 episodes in 1975 and 1976, including the pilot and the 2-part Feminine Mystique storyline. She was 20 years old, and if you go back and watch those episodes now, you can already see the quality that would define her later career. Something unguarded and specific that most actors spend years trying to develop. By 2026, she's 70 and still one of the most respected actresses of her generation. Her Wonder Woman appearances were genuinely just the start. She earned Academy Award nominations for An Officer and a Gentleman in 1982, Terms of Endearment in 1983, and Shadowlands in 1993. 3 nominations in 11 years, which is a remarkable run by any measure. Then, in the mid-1990s, she did something that almost no one in her position would seriously consider. She walked away from Hollywood. Not a quiet step back, but a real departure, driven by deep frustration with the way the industry treated women and a refusal to keep playing by rules she didn't believe in. It cost her momentum and likely some significant roles. She clearly decided that was an acceptable trade. She came back on her own terms with strong work in Rachel Getting Married and the Netflix series The Ranch, and the time away only seemed to deepen what made her interesting as a performer in the first place. She was married to Timothy Hutton from 1986 to 1990 and has a son with him. She's been married to actor and director Arliss Howard since 1996, and they have a son together. Her career has always reflected a kind of stubbornness that reads, in retrospect, as integrity.
Tim Donahue, how are you, kid? I hear you and the family are knocking them dead over the Hippodrome.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Harris, thank you.
Richard Eastham played General Blankenship for 11 episodes from 1975 to 1977, serving as Diana's commanding officer through the show's World War II seasons. He was already deep into a long career when he took the role. One of those dependable veteran character actors who'd been steadily working since the earliest days of television and knew exactly what he was doing in every scene. By 2026, he's 91 years old and believed to be living quietly in retirement. After Wonder Woman wrapped, he continued doing exactly what he'd always done, showing up in good television and making the most of it. Hawaii Five-0, Quincy M.E., The Jeffersons, Three's Company, Dallas. He moved through the landscape of late 70s and 80s primetime with the ease of someone who had mastered this particular craft a long time ago. One of his final notable screen appearances came in National Lampoon's European Vacation in 1985, before he gradually stepped back from acting in the mid-1980s. He kept his personal life thoroughly private throughout, standard practice for character actors of his generation, and almost certainly part of what allowed so many of them to sustain careers as long as they did.
Shall I never get to go out to dinner?
I'll make you a promise.
Not the same, Diana. I mean, you're not a man.
I've always been very happy about that.
Beatrice Colen played Etta Candy across 9 episodes from 1975 to 1976, bringing genuine comedic warmth to the role of Diana's loyal and endlessly enthusiastic secretary. She was 27 at the time and coming off a well-received run as Marcia Sims on the first season of Happy Days, so she already had sharp instincts for ensemble comedy. Etta could easily have been played as pure comic relief, but Colen gave her a real fondness for Diana that grounded everything in something a little sweeter. Sadly, she passed away on November 18, 2019, at the age of 71 after battling lung cancer. Her path after Wonder Woman is one of the more genuinely interesting in this cast. She worked in film through the late 70s, Mel Brooks's High Anxiety in 1977, then American Hot Wax and Foul Play in 1978, and then made a decision that most actors never seriously entertain. She left the entertainment industry and built a successful career as a real estate agent in the Los Angeles Valley area, where she worked for several decades. She was married to Patrick Mayer until his death and was a devoted mother to 2 children. By all accounts, she found real satisfaction in the life she built away from the camera.
The president I can get you in to see, but until Washington starts believing Willard White's a thief, that's the way it is. In the meantime, I'm sure you and Mrs. Jones could find some way to amuse yourselves.
Norman Burton played Joe Atkinson for 17 episodes from 1977 to 1979, stepping into the series when it moved to CBS and reset to the modern era, serving as Diana's primary contact at a government intelligence agency. He was 53 when he joined the cast, already carrying decades of solid work in film and television. Sadly, he passed away on November 29, 2003, at the age of 79 in a traffic accident. His full resume is quietly impressive. Planet of the Apes in 1968, the James Bond film Diamonds Are Forever in 1971, The Towering Inferno in 1974. Genuinely significant credits across major productions. After Wonder Woman ended, he kept working with consistent reliability. Magnum P.I., The A-Team, Knight Rider, and later Babylon 5 and Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He also appeared in Bloodsport in 1988 alongside Jean-Claude Van Damme, which introduced him to an audience with very different tastes from the Bond crowd. He retired in the late 1990s and lived quietly in Newhall, California. The kind of career that rarely earns its own retrospective, but made a great deal of television considerably better than it would have been otherwise. Taken together, this cast is a reminder of something that tends to get lost when we talk about old shows in purely nostalgic terms. The idea that the people involved were simply backdrop to a cultural moment. They weren't. They were working actors with full, complicated lives, and what they did after the cameras stopped is as varied and interesting as anything they did on screen. Lynda Carter became an enduring cultural symbol. Debra Winger became one of cinema's most uncompromising talents. Lyle Waggoner built a company that genuinely changed how Hollywood operates behind the scenes. Beatrice Colen built a whole second life entirely removed from the industry and seemed genuinely happy in it. For those no longer with us, their work is still there every time someone sits down to watch Diana Prince spin into action. And there's something worth sitting with in that variety. The Oscar-nominated actress who walked away from fame on her own terms. The comedian who became a real estate agent. The handsome leading man who became a logistics entrepreneur. None of these are the stories you'd have predicted watching the show in 1975. But all of them feel, in their own way, like Wonder Woman stories. People figuring out who they are, refusing to be defined by a single chapter, and building something that matters to them. That's quite a lot to leave behind.